This coffee is like a day old and I haven't had anything to drink all day. Do I want to die? Maybe so. Today, we are going to be doing a follow-up video of me roasting After by Aint and Todd. So, I decided to do this video because everyone in the comments just kept saying how I can't have an opinion on the story because I haven't finished it. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna read the whole series because I hate myself and I was forced to read the second book, okay? My friend Minka from Minka August, she forced me to read this book because she thought that this video would be very entertaining. So she forced me to do this for her own entertainment, basically. And I have nothing else better to do in my life. So I listened to the audiobook for I listened to 19 hours of this book. So also I thought this video would be very interesting because the last time I read this book I was 16 and I filmed this video 3 years after I had read it. So, well, 3 to 4 years after I had read it. So I couldn't really recall all the problematic things that happened in the story. But since I literally just read it and I took notes on it, I can pull out every little problematic detail that this story has. Why does all the conversations in this book seem so unnatural? Like, even when she's talking to the adults, like people who are like older than her, like moms, like why do they always have to be like this wise character? Like everyone she's talked to is wise, except for her own mother, who's like supposed to be like this most horrible person ever. But like even Hardin's mom, she's like super wise, and like his stepmom is so wise, and like the older woman that she works with is just like so wise, and just like all the conversations just seem so they seem so forced. Like even with people she go to school with, like her old friends, and sometimes even her conversations with Hardin, they just seem so forced. At the beginning of book 2, Zed says how Hardin told the friend group like everything that Hardin and Tessa did, like all the sexual stuff that they did, and Hardin's like, oh no, like I didn't tell them everything they did, I just made up some stuff. Is that supposed to make anything better? She blames Hardin for the reason why she was homeless, because she didn't want to go back to their apartment and she couldn't go back to college because she doesn't have a dorm anymore. She blames Hardin for all her situation, but you're the person who agreed to move in with the guy after only knowing him for a couple of months. You only knew him for 3 months and you decided that it would be a smart idea to move in with him. And literally everyone warned her. Her mom warned her, his friends warned her, random people warned her, and she decided not to listen to them because he was actually stalking her at one point. He was calling her multiple times, texting her, blowing up her phone. He came up to her job like twice and she's all like, haha, I want to forgive him, but I shouldn't. Girl, if you don't block him, if you do not block him and get a restraining order, he was actually stalking her. Like, I get that you want to get your point across, that it was a mistake and you want to apologize to her, but she needs her space. And the fact that she was dumb enough to be like, I want to forgive him, but I shouldn't, like, that's not smart. She gives in after like 3 days and she like ends up drunk and they end up having the sex together. And I'm like, girl, you are the weakest link. You are the weakest link, okay? He actually had sex with her while she was drunk. He knew that if she was sober, she would not have had sex with him. He knew that it was wrong of him to have sex with her while she was drunk, but he still did it anyways. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is sexual assault. Let me just point out how in the book she says she doesn't think that periods are something that women should discuss. Straight men are gonna be married to a woman eventually, so he's gonna have to deal with her having periods. If he has sisters, he's gonna have to deal with his sisters' periods. If he has cousins, he needs to deal with his cousins having period. He has a mother, so he's gonna have to deal with his mother having periods. And if he has a daughter, he's gonna have to deal with his daughter having periods. So I don't know why women act like talking about periods is so uncomfortable for men. It's something that we as women have to deal with, and men are lucky that they don't have to, so the least they can do is educate themselves on the topic. So saying that women should not discuss periods is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life. Why why in books periods are never discussed in books, and then when they are, they're used as a plot for sex. Why? He literally has sex with her while she's on her period, and he's like, haha, red lights don't stop me. And I'm like, literally while reading the story, they're at her office or whatever, and like before that they were talking about her period, which is why she said she doesn't think periods are something women should discuss. And like she's on her period or whatever, and then like they skip to like the next scene, and they're in her office, and like she gets like turned on or whatever, so they're like making out and stuff, and he's like, oh, well, aren't you on your period? And she's like, yeah, but I don't care. And basically, and he puts a condom on, and he's like, yeah, he's basically like, yeah, red lights don't stop me. Like, I'm sorry, sir, this ain't 50 Shades of Grey, okay? I don't want to read any more period scenes. That's not my cup of tea. And periods are used as sex in books as like far too many times, like far more times than you would expect it is, okay? So the scenes, like the situations, the I don't know what to call them. I guess they're like scenes, I guess. Not really scenes, but like events that happen in a book are literally like 15 to 20 chapters long. Christmas, like literally the day before Christmas, and Christmas was a whole 15 chapters long. Like this whole book took place within like 2 weeks. This book took me 19 hours to read, so the first book was like 16 hours to read, so I want to say that was like maybe 1,000 pages. So this book is probably like 1,500 pages, like between 1,000 and 1,500 pages. So the fact that this book took course over a good like 2 weeks, less than a month, at least less than a month, but literally like Christmas was a whole 15 chapters long. They were at a party and it was like 10 chapters, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm so used to like certain stuff being like 1 to 2 chapters long, but like I started realizing these scenes are like really, really long. For what reason? Okay, so there's another scene where like they're like at a party, and like Hardin's like talking to this girl, and she's like, haha, I won't kiss and tell. And they're like talking about being in this room, and Tessa overhears, but instead of going to Hardin, her man, and talking out or like asking him like, yo, like what the heck, like what the heck just happened, like what does she mean by like I don't kiss and tell, instead of going to him and talking about it, she just goes and kisses another guy in front of him. That's a common theme in this book, is Tessa seeing something. Also, can I just point out why would you say that to someone like I don't kiss and tell? Like, why would you say that to someone who has a girlfriend? Like, that's so weird, especially considering the situation that happened. The phrase was so uncalled for within the situation that happened. I think like they were like smoking weed or something, and she's like, yeah, don't kiss and tell. Like, that was such a weird thing to say to someone. That was just, I don't know, that was really weird in general. But they have like this reoccurring theme in this book where like Tessa like overhears something or sees something, and she like, instead of going to talk to Hardin about it, she just goes and like does whatever she wants to do. Or Hardin hears something about Tessa or sees something about Tessa, and instead of him going to talk to her about it, he just goes off and like does whatever he wants to do. And like, if you're in a relationship with someone, or I don't even think they were in a relationship, I think they were like trying to build their relationship back. If you're trying to build a relationship with someone and you want to be with someone, communication is key. Like, I'm so tired of this whole like seeing something and not want to talk about it and then getting mad about it. Like, how old are you, 5? He gets mad at her at having any male friends. He gets mad at her because of being friends with Zed, which I guess is understandable because they have history and he liked her. But he also doesn't like the fact that she's friends with her coworker Trevor. Like, it was this one scene where they went out to lunch, and like he is so mad that they went out to lunch together, and it's like, dude, that's her freaking coworker. Like, the only men in her life that he allows her to have is his stepbrother, and that's because it's his stepbrother, her boss, and his dad. Like, those are the only men and himself. Like, Hardin does not allow her to have any other male friends because he'll automatically assume that she's gonna cheat on him, and that has to be the most insecure, emotional, abusive thing I've ever read in my life. Like, throughout reading this story, I'm like, girl, leave him, bye, skedaddle. And okay, there's one thing, she was like talking to one of her guy friends, and she's like, is love supposed to feel like this? And he's like, no, like love is like, it's not easy, but you know, you have to work it out. And I just want to say that love does not have to be toxic. It does not have to be hard. Love can be really, really, like, you know, to be with someone, they don't have to be toxic and hard. And if he causes you to cry yourself to sleep every night, honey, let that man go. Tessa is a very beautiful girl, I'm assuming, from reading the book, because she has men all over her, like, all the time, and I can't relate. But if you're this beautiful, that means you can get any guy you want. Or I guess men find her personality interesting. I think she is the most boring character I've ever read in my life. And reading her character, I want to shoot myself in the head. But I guess she has a pretty decent personality. She's a good girl, so a lot of guys like that. So it's like, you can find a lot better men out here. Like, you don't have to suffer and go through this because that's what you believe love is. Or that's what, you know, it's just... There's this one scene where they're doing yoga and like Hardin's with her, and like Hardin is like, they're like stretching or whatever, and this girl is like, you're supposed to touch your toes when you're stretching, and Hardin's like trying. Tessa basically was like thinking like how she's so jealous, like how she got jealous of this girl, and she started picturing herself smashing the girl head into the wall, and she even like called the girl a whore in her head. And it's like, she only said one sentence to her. She got mad because a girl was like telling him how to stretch is like really, really weird. And then she like kind of was like ignoring him a little bit after that whole situation, even though it's not like they were flirting. Literally after he said trying, they did not speak anymore. And I just thought it was really weird. You know, this book has a repetitive cycle of them. This book has a repetitive cycle of, it starts off her being mad at him, and then somehow they fix it, they have sex, repeat, rinse, wash, repeat. Like, that's literally the whole book. And in between those scenes when they're not mad at each other, it was the most boring thing I've ever read in my life. And the cycle repeats a good 4 times in this book. And as I mentioned, this book is roughly between 1,000 and 1,500 pages. So you can imagine the pain I suffered through. There would be times when I was reading this book and like I would completely zone out for like 20 minutes, and then like I would like start paying attention again, and it's like I missed no detail whatsoever. This book could have been split into like 3 different books, honestly. Like, there was no reason for this book to be that long. And also, I just want to say, you let men control who you can and cannot hang out with. Couldn't be me. Now let's play Kissing Without Consent in chapter 5, Slut Shaming chapter 44, and more slut shaming around like chapter like 80 or something, I don't know. But this book was as to be expected, trash, emotionally abusive, like really weird jealousy. It was just, and I'm sadly going to be continuing on and reading book 3, which is 24 hours of reading. I listened to this book on 3x speed, and I will be listening to the second book on 3x speed. I don't really remember like what happens in the end because I stopped paying attention because I didn't care, and it was really boring and really useless. The fact that this book is getting a movie really upsets me, and it really concerns me about what people like in their reading. Like, if you like this book, it's like a guilty pleasure. Like, that's fine. You can like whatever you want. Like, I will admit that this book wasn't boring enough to where I didn't want to read it anymore. But the fact that people view Hardin as like a guy that they want to date, I'm really scared for you ladies. And I hope that you know that there are men out there. If you want a bad boy, there are bad boys out there who will treat you nicely and who won't tell you that you can and cannot hang out with other guys, and who will not treat you like crap and use your virginity as a bet or as a reward because he took it. I'm gonna be reading the 3rd book, and I'm gonna be reviewing it, so stay on the lookout for that. I post 2 to 3 times a week. Please subscribe. Please. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.